I don't think the men's center is fiscally responsible for the student society right now.
The project is not financially responsible.
I'm uncomfortable with $30,000 being allotted to a center with no clear mandate.
How can you think that because there's enough money to do that, you should be able to?
So the money is there, you just don't think it should be spent giving men their space. I mean, the women have their own space, the LGBT and so on, but what about men? They shouldn't get their space. In spite of the money being there, what else should the money be spent on? Perhaps paying Jessica Valenti and Anita Sarkeesian to give a speech on 10 out of 10 women are rape victims in present and past lives, and how 9 out of 10 males will commit rape before the age of birth, and how video games are made by rapists to promote rape culture. Or maybe the money could go to start your own vagina monologues.
My vagina's angry. It is pissed off. My vagina's furious and it needs to talk. It needs to talk about all this shit. And it needs to talk to you. I mean, what's the deal? An army of people out there thinking up ways to torture my poor ass, gentle, loving vagina? Spending their days constructing psycho products and nasty ideas to undermine my pussy? Vagina motherfuckers.
When you have all these other groups that have to work tooth and nail for years to get somewhere, to get funding like that.
Actually, those other groups already have the funding and the institutions and the special protection laws and anti-discrimination laws, and the charities, and the civil rights organizations, and already have their space at your campus. Meanwhile, Earl Silverman spent a significant portion of his life trying to get a battered men's shelter running, since domestic violence shelters are exclusively female and will not allow males over legal age. He worked hard, he fought tooth and nail. The government decided that because his shelter was not geared specifically for women, he did not qualify for funding. People like you, your lies, and your hate, kept Earl from his dream of creating a safe space for men. Earl eventually hung himself very recently, as he could no longer carry on the fight in a system that viewed him and his sex as monsters unfit for compassion or compensation. People like you created that hostile and unloving world that Earl lived in. People like you built the system that he could no longer live in. And so you advocate to push men out of other spaces like safe spaces on campus. You, and those like you, work hard to manufacture more Earl Silvermans, men who kill themselves because they lived used and abused lives and are told at every turn that because of their sex, they are disposable, and must never be given a place or a helping hand, and they must never be allowed to make a place that gives a helping hand.
The privileging of creating a men's space over other advocacy groups, applying for funding and space, opens itself up to a lot of outside criticisms.
Privileging of creating a men's space. What the fuck does that even mean? Is English your second or third language? And that's coming from me, Mr. Typo himself. And you say, over other advocacy groups. What other advocacy groups? Every other advocacy group has their own space on your campus. You say it opens itself up to a lot of outside criticism. You mean you know how to stop that outside criticism. Don't make this fucking video you're making. Look mate, if you're not going to be part of the solution, just stop being part of the problem.
Considering there isn't a men's movement to liberate men from women and from the gender inequalities imposed on men, I don't think that there's as much of a mandate to create a men's center.
Actually, there is a men's rights movement. Don't pretend you haven't heard of them. When you go around protesting with MRAs telling lies, we can see through your disguise. Alright, I know, technically it's a different university, but don't pretend you don't know there isn't a men's rights movement. Closing your eyes and pretending the fire isn't there, won't actually make it go away. I think it's amazing how one moment the feminists must stand together and unite against this evil patriarchal movement, and then when it suits their agenda they say I've never heard of a movement for men. Nazis telling lies, we can see through your disguise. Come on, everybody chant.
Nazis telling lies, we can see through your disguise. Nazis telling lies, we can see through your disguise.
Men have a lot of access to space that women don't have.
What access to what space do men have that women don't? More Germans were killed by Jews in the concentration camps than Jews were. Oh, what? I can't just say off-the-wall ridiculous shit without providing proof. I guess I have to go to a women's studies class to get away with doing that.
The Men's Center is not about gender equality. It is not about being fair to the men at SFU.
How do you know that? What happened to all that talk just a moment ago about not having a clear mandate? First I'm hearing I oppose it because their goals are not clearly defined. Now I'm hearing you're against it because you don't like what its goals aren't. Time to get that chant going again.
Nazis tell in lies. We can see through your disguise.
It's a bit different than talking about a men's center as a safe space.
I swear if I hear the words safe space again I am going to fucking kick a puppy.
You need to have a community. It's essential in order to have this safe space.
What did I just fucking tell you?
I think there's a possibility for the Men's Center to become a highly masculinized space if it's not given a clear mandate for inclusion.
It might become masculine. Oh no. Don't look now, but I think your bigotry is showing. Oh, and Boba Thursday. Remember when you joked around about feminism trying to take away men's masculinity, and you joked about it like it wasn't happening?
Now, another important thing is this whole idea that men have about, oh, women are trying to take away men's rights and take away our balls and our manness or machismo something. Apparently, women asking for rights somehow removes the testicle off of men or something. And they're sucking our mojo out in the night.
Now Boba Thursday, listen.
I think there's a possibility for the Men's Center to become a highly masculinized space.
These comments are non-stop in feminist circles, always attempting to butcher masculinity to make it mean what they want it to mean, and to demonize masculine feelings, behaviors, and attitudes.
I think there's potential that it would become heteronormative space.
Heteronormative space. What the fuck does that mean? You mean it becomes a place where the people are mostly heterosexual, you know. I've seen places like that before. I think it was called reality. 2.4 to 2.7% of people are homosexual. Even when you include both sexes and you include all forms of transgenderism and sexuality and other than cis heterosexuality, it only totals to 6%. Therefore most places are going to be 94% heterosexual. And stop using the word heteronormative to mean ordinary, normal. Just stop with the vague words. If you mean you fear it will absolutely exclude homosexuals, then just say that, so that at least the concern can be addressed. Don't half-ass insinuate it with all this vague bullshit terminology that only exists in the LGBT vernacular.
It does not take into account marginalized or subordinate men.
What the fuck did I just say about using vague language? What are subordinate and marginalized men? You mean men of a certain ethnicity? You mean men of a certain sexuality? Are you talking about Muslim men, Jewish men, foreign men? Are you talking about handicapped or mentally ill men? Or men with weird religions? Are you talking about hermaphrodites, midgets, poor, homeless, jobless men? Just what the fuck are you talking about?
The Men's Center will end up being a place to celebrate hegemonic masculinity rather than being a place to include all different types of masculinity.
Hegemonic rep masculinity. What the fuck did you just say? What goddamn language are you speaking? You're just making words up now, aren't you? If you're going to make up words, make up something interesting like Josksik. Hey, it's a word. I'll let the cat explain it to you.
That letter, that letter, that letter. There.
Hey, I got you now, buddy. Jozxyqk.
That's not a word.
It's a cat word.
Jozksik.
That's not how you pronounce it.
What's it mean?
It's a sound you make when you get your sexual organs trapped in something.
It's in a dictionary?
Well, it could be. If you're reading in the nude and you close the book too quick.
And what is this crap about all different types of masculinity? There is only one type of masculinity and one type of femininity. Masculinity is that which is not feminine, and femininity is that which is not masculine. Or as Aristotle put it, black is the thing that is not white, and white is the thing that is not black. So that begs the question of how either was invented. Well, it wasn't invented, it was observed by examining behavioral differences between men and women. The reason we reject this notion in humans is because the LGBT and feminists have this dogmatic faith that says boys and girls are one and the same. The only behavioral differences are the ones society teaches. The problem is, scientists have disproved the tabula rasa theory this idea is based on, a long time ago, right around the time science proved that the Earth is not the center of the universe. You know, I wonder, who is more behind, the feminists, or the creationists?
It is not collaborating with the other social justice groups at SFU.
Well, maybe that's because the other social justice advocacy groups are persecuting the men. Imagine a Jew not wanting to join a Nazi discussion group. How can men join a group at your campus to talk about issues unique to males when they are constantly told that males don't have problems, males cause problems, males don't suffer, they cause suffering, and when a male protests this you tell him,
If you would shut the fuck up!
then mock him and assure him males have never suffered and have never in any way, shape or form gotten the short end of the gender stick.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, because like apparently men have been oppressed for being men. Oh. We make up 80% That's a fucking issue.
And then proceed to sing Cry Me a River.
There are about 4 programs for women and maybe 1 for men.
If a male dare bring up that he feels like he is demonized for his healthy masculine instincts, he is laughed at and mocked.
Now, another important thing is this whole idea that men have about, oh, women are trying to take away men's rights and take away our balls and our manness or machismo something. Apparently, women asking for rights somehow removes the testicle off of men or something. And
They're sucking our mojo out in the night.
If the male does not immediately hold his head in shame, he is then spit on, called a rape supporter, and called scum.
You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You're fucking scum. You are fucking scum.
That's how other social justice advocacy groups treat men when men bring up male issues. Instead of expecting them to work with you, why don't you work with them?
You know, I encounter catcalling. I've been followed. I think these are pretty standard experiences for a lot of women out there, and I don't think that especially straight cis men go through their daily lives experiencing that.
What does straight have to do with cat calls? Are you saying gay men get cat calls? Are you saying trans men do? I mean, how the fuck does a passerby even know if a man is cis or gay? At any rate, I believe this woman is merely echoing the sentiment that straight cis men have no problems.
In support of a men's center that was liaisoning with SFU and the women's center and out on campus to create a safe space.
What did I fucking tell you about those 2 words? You're about to make me pull a Samuel L. Jackson speech.
What? Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what 1 more goddamn time.
Jeff McCann, Keenan Midgley, and Danielle Hornstein are not the best people to be creating a men's center. It's coming from a space of hegemonic, privileged masculinity.
Hegemonic privileged masculinity? What the fuck does that mean? Look, you're not speaking English. You're just tossing out buzzwords like an abstract artist splashing paint onto a canvas. Your editing scheme of jump cut mania is distracting and forcing me to do the same to respond. And so I am done. Besides, Snake Plisskenist made a video I thought was rather nice at countering your bullshit. But there is an even better argument, you see. The woman that made this video made the mistake of not pulling an Anita Sarkeesian and doing what the other feminists do. She left the ratings enabled. A look at the ratings reveals that out of the 25,025 people who seen the video, 1,821 said go to hell. Only 54 people liked the video. That's a 98% dislike. On channels that have not established a strong feminist viewership, when a feminist video gets big views, it tends to get big dislikes. Social values and attitudes are like fashions. When it comes to something with only 2 sides, the values swing like a pendulum as that culture evolves. For feminists, the pendulum has swung in their direction as far as it will go, and is now swinging in our direction. People are seeing feminism for what it is, a hate movement. The feminist ship has struck an iceberg. It is taking on water and going down fast. And all social justices that ally themselves with feminism will get pulled down as well if they don't abandon the feminist ship. Feminists, your days are numbered. Your time will come. Your time will come.